Hey, today I'm going to be playing Night Lord and commenting on the Will boss fight. This is the beginning of a series I plan to start where I explain my thought process playing various classes in bossing. I'm going to be talking about their pros and cons and things to watch out for in certain matchups.
And now for the explosion. Life and death in
This part of the test, you want to collect one of the golden drops that falls out of the sky while avoiding the red drops. It can be a little annoying for classes like Night Lord because during your origin, it's constantly hitting this center bulb, which is causing lots of red orbs to fall out of the sky. Thankfully for Night Lord's origin, it deactivates a little bit on its own. You'll have to see according to your class how you can avoid hitting the middle bulb multiple times, as you only need to collect one golden drop to trigger this golden force field. So same thing, here's the message: Will is trying to unlock his power, find your way to safety. That's the message that appears when he's about to do the spider crack one hit KO attack. So when you see that message, which it triggers at every segment of the phase 1 test, you want to count a couple seconds and then use the moonlight. Whichever dimension has the red spider eye floating in the center is the safe dimension, and the one that doesn't have it is the one that will receive a one hit KO attack. Rather than contending with figuring out which dimension does or doesn't have the red spider eye, I just like to count a couple seconds and then use moonlight because you're invulnerable during the moonlight. So if you time it with when the red spider eye attack is about to go off, then you'll be invulnerable no matter which dimension it's in. You'll have plenty of time in between the tests to buff up. Last phase 1 test, you can actually delay going into phase 2 for a little bit, which is helpful if you're waiting for your cooldowns to come up, by just not hitting Will until your cooldowns come up. In this case, I didn't do it because I saw that my cooldowns were already about to come up. It's important to be aware of those red balls that trigger right at the end of phase 1 because if you're not paying attention, those can chip off a little bit of your HP, which is annoying when you start phase 2 with not having 100% of your HP.
And now for the explosion.
In phase 2, there's potion lock, which means you can't use your potions unless you use moonlight, and most classes healing abilities are restricted as well. But interestingly, healing familiars actually aren't restricted, so if you have strong healing familiars, they're super helpful in Will phase 2. The start of phase 2 is tricky to play because you spawn into phase 2 with 0% moonlight, which means that you're under attack by these balls and red spider legs right away, but you're not able to use your potions, which there's a high probability that you'll die right at the start of phase 2. The way that I recommend dealing with this is to bind Will right away as phase 2 starts. That way you don't have to worry about Will himself hitting you, you only have to worry about the red spider legs and the floating purple balls. Then as he's binded, you want to rush hitting him to build up your moonlight gauge as fast as possible. Once you have sufficient moonlight, then you should be in the clear because then you'll start being able to use your potions, and then as they're cooling down, you start building up more moonlight, then you use your potions again, then as they're cooling down, you're hitting him, you're building up more moonlight. It's kind of like a rhythm that you get into. Willow's push attack is dangerous because it can push you into those purple cobwebs at the edge of the map, which skill lock you and continually damage you. So it's a good idea to keep moving around to make it difficult for him to push you. During the phase 2 test, if there's no crack on the floor, you want to avoid the spider legs, but if there's a crack on the floor, you have to purposely get hit by the spider legs. I learned this technique from watching a Korean stream. I forgot what stream it was, but the technique is that in the test for phase 2, immediately jump to the far left corner as you see me doing here, and just wait there. If no crack appears on the floor, then just keep waiting in the corner, and you won't be hit by any of the spider legs. If a crack appears in the floor, you want to be ready to go just slightly right of that crystal you see in the background. The red spider legs are sort of spaced out in a pattern. You get hit by one, you take a few steps, you get hit by one, you take a few steps. When he turns into a big spider, you want to watch the color of his eyes. If his eyes are yellow, then you want to stay in the same place, and if his eyes are white, then you want to be not in the same place. So you can be moving around or you can be jumping, but you don't want to be in the same place. Here I misplayed it a little bit. His eyes were yellow, but I was moving, so I took a big chunk of damage right at the start of phase 3. Being able to burst Will down quickly is a strong trait to have for phase 3. As you're fighting against time for those red cobwebs slowly closing. Similarly, phase 2, they do large damage and skill lock. You can remove them by using Moonlight and touching them. I got skill locked and then finished off. That's Night Lord's insane burst. I popped all my buffs, pop Origin, and then practically dropped his whole HP bar. My Night Lord is at about 40 mil-ish gear score. Other classes with a comparable gear score might not have as strong of a burst, so it really depends on your class. I hope you enjoyed this Will Boss commentary. Like and subscribe and let me know what other commentaries you'd like to see.